And we're live. Hello and welcome to Game Theory Gang. I'm your host, Maddie ALLin, and got a special show for you tonight. Thanks for everybody for showing up here. I'm super pumped. I just got back from the Bitcoin conference, and I've got plenty to tell you about all that. I'm going to show you a bunch of pictures of all the different Bitcoin celebrities that I was finessing and trolling, you know. And I think the other guys are taking a break this week, but they'll probably be back in the future, and we'll have more special guests. But with that being said, I don't know. Let's play some sort of intro here. Let's do a throwback to Agent Smith.
Richard, do you think the Matrix will allow you to release crypto code that is superior to that of Bitcoin and gives decentralized financial freedom to all? What? You already released it? Oh, we better stop gatekeeping. Congrats on 100,000 Twitter subs. Yeah.
Awesome. Everybody make sure to get your questions ready, because I'm happy to answer any questions that the chat has, no matter how complex. This is usually a show that's not for beginners, but then again, all are welcome. I want to start off by saying hello to everybody in the chat, and a lot of familiar names here. Let's see. What's up, everybody? So, oh my gosh, I've got so much good stuff to share with people today. I got to meet all of my favorite Bitcoin celebrities almost, and I've got the receipts and the pictures to prove it. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to tell you all the dirt on all of them. It was really a wild week. It started last week. No, it was 2 weeks ago, where we had Game Theory Gang. And then the next day I flew to Las Vegas to retrieve the Hex DeLorean, which then I drove about 25 hours to Austin, Texas. Then I hung out there for a couple of days with my buddy, and actually I ran into somebody who knew me from YouTube, just hanging out down by the waterway and stuff. And so, I think Austin, Texas is a major hub of Hexicans. I know when we did the Hex tour there with Crypto Sparbach, and Abit and Patrick, the turnout was like 200 Hexicans just for that little meetup. And so that was the largest of all the different 40 cities that we went to. So just just dropping the hints or whatever that we might do something in Austin, Texas again in the future. So let's see. Oh yeah, and then I drove all the way to Florida, stayed with a friend again, and then I went to Miami and stayed there and got to meet a lot of interesting people. Got to get into the psychology of what's going on with Bitcoin and how maybe in the Hex community we can avoid some of the mistakes that they're making and learn from their successes and their failures. Let's see, and we're live. That's right. What is up, everybody? Bitfinesse. Hey. All right, let's see. Yeah, I met a bunch of YouTubers who have like tens of thousands of followers, and I'm super excited. I think I'm going to start going on their shows and explaining everything about Pulse and PulseX. And, depending on their willingness, we'll talk about Hex as well. This is something really learned from my subtle shilling as well as my overt shilling at the Bitcoin conference. You know, uh, it's UFO. What's going on, man? Nice to see you. Can't believe it's been 5 weeks since the conference. Yeah. Oh, yeah. 5 weeks since Game Theory Gang. What's up from Indianapolis? Good to see you, Hookshot. Let's see. Lots of people saying hi in the chat here. This is great. Let's hear some guesses on the PLSX pool staking returns. I think it'll have to be enough to keep some people interested. Let me get into I've got some good stuff on some fresh takes on PulseX versus Pulse. Okay. Don't let me forget. I'll get to that here in a minute. I am not familiar with Maximus, so I'm not sure. Can you tell me more about it? Ready for the knowledge dump. That's right. I got to see David in Miami. He went to the Bitcoin conference. That was really awesome. We had lunch together, and that's where I met a bunch of the Bitcoiners that I'm going to onboard. You know, the YouTubers, I mean. Why didn't I just time jump? Well, you know, I had to go live on Twitter Spaces for hours and hours while I was driving, of course, and that was a blast. Shout out to everybody that helped pass the time on my 60 hours of driving. I think I streamed for probably 10 or 15 hours of that. I heard they weren't offering the single staking pools for X. Might not be referring to the name correctly. Okay. Texas definitely representing. That's right. People follow the price. Yeah, I think that's pretty true. And, you know, but the people who profit the most and end up controlling the most coins are the ones that buy and hold, especially people who buy dips. They get 5 times as many coins if there's an 80% dip than people who buy tops. However, you know, what the math tells us is that dollar cost averaging is really the way to go. Future Us and I were talking about this recently, and you know, some of the math papers that kind of just boggle the mind, because you would think if you always buy dips you would do better, but apparently that's not what the math says, and so it's completely unintuitive that dollar cost averaging is actually better than even buying dips, because you don't know when the dips are going to be, basically. So just back projecting data like isn't super informative. You have to kind of balance the math theory and, you know, the financial knowledge, basically. Greetings, ALLin, Crypto King. What's up? Good to see you here. Jim Rat Crypto. I was watching your show earlier. Very interesting stuff. Very interesting. This guy who is wanting to do a substance abuse, or he's built a substance abuse clinic and wants to attach some NFTs to it. I want to know more before I endorse anything, but you know, it sounds like he's got a really cool idea in it, and so that was really helpful to watch your show today. Thanks for that, and everybody can check out Jim Rat Crypto on YouTube and like and subscribe. He does a daily show in the morning. It's called Hex in the Morning. Yeah, smash the like and subscribe, everybody. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. I think it'll be super easy once I start going on all these other shows and onboarding people into our ecosystem. I think that that's maybe something that us Hex OG YouTubers like maybe haven't taken advantage of as much as we could, but we've definitely got the street cred now that everybody in the entire crypto space, especially people on Twitter, know that hexagons dominate. We haven't gone away, and so they're all super curious. A lot of them sacrificed for Pulse and PulseX. And that's another reason why me going to the Bitcoin conference, where there were 25,000 people there, they doubled their numbers from last year, was so interesting. That's what we'll talk about on Game Theory Gang tonight, is kind of what the psychology is there of onboarding and networking and getting hexed to the next 100x or whatever. I will also comment on some things that Richard said since the last time we met about a week ago. Good evening. Let's talk about the regulatory hurdles with PulseX and PulseChain. He's going after decentralized exchange next. My take on that, here's my hot take. It doesn't have to be correct. It doesn't have to be the same as everybody else's, but my take on regulatory is that politicians like to make a bunch of noise so that people pay them off. So, they will talk about regulating things because they want campaign contributions, and it has nothing to do with what they're really going to do. So I don't have that much fear about the regulation, but I also trust that as a collective, there are people that are going to want to work on that. Richard has made some noise in the past month about stuff that they were trying to pull in Europe. And, as governments test how much power the people are willing to give them, it's great that we don't give them all the power when it comes to crypto. And, still go about, this whole idea of checks and balances. That's probably the missing ingredient from most government policies these days that end up being disasters. And in some cases, also crypto stuff that ends up being a disaster, is that there's not enough checks and balances, especially on like these centralized exchanges that get hacked. It's because people who are good at marketing aren't good at tech. And most YouTubers don't read code, and so they're promoting things without knowing about them, and so it's a big mess. But at the end of the day, I think whether it's regulatory or just other things that can go wrong in society, I think checks and balances is a pretty good answer to that. Returns won't be like they are on the testnet. Nobody knows. And sure, there would be an incentive for people to push the prices around on the testnet. So I wouldn't take that to be what you're going to get in reality. But I think that the price discovery process is going to be brutal. Brutal. Let's see. What's up, Craig? Hey, Hexicans. Hey, Maddie. When will you have a Crypto Panda on stream? I did a stream with him 2-3 months ago. You should look it up. It was great. And, very cool dude. So like to have him again, of course. What's up, Frank? Let's see. Is it true the PulseX single staking pools will not be offered initially? I'm not sure. I think that's part of the plan, is to offer those. But at the end of the day, people are going to be staking on Hex to really earn their best yield at the end of the day, I think. To be honest with everybody, my take is that the staking that occurs in these pools and stuff like that, I mean, it's just supposed to be like icing on the top of a cake. It's not going to be like crazy amounts. Because how does it pay for itself, really? I think it's added on as dressing because people like that, because it works. When you get people to lock up their coins for any amount of time, the price goes up and everybody likes that. So maybe everybody's willing to, uh, let a little bit of inflation go, or to have some impermanent loss, or whatever the actual sources of the funding are for these rewards. And the reward token is another interesting way to incentivize certain things, especially based on a DAO. So there's tons and tons and tons of game theory baked into all this stuff, and some are much more powerful than others. I think staking pools where you can jump in and out at any time, I think it's going to be like kind of minor interest, like not that great, but if you're in Hex, you've been spoiled. It's a good thing. And I think you'll still continue to be spoiled. Bristology is guessing 15%. That seems super high to me. In Hex, the inflation that we suffer is paid for. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Like the staking rewards are paid for, because the OA isn't staking completely, or the OA is staking partially, and so we're kind of getting a little bit of altruistic benefit there. But really, anybody who's holding liquid is suffering this minimum amount of inflation, and the system is there to reward people for holding up the price and then continuing to pay more and more for T-shares. So I don't think you're going to get the same pump of metals and the same dynamics. I think staking in a pool is going to be very disappointing compared to staking in Hex. Although there might be less volatility in that coin, but there's going to be more price discovery. We want there to be price discovery on PulseX. We want the price to go up a lot. We want it to go up 10,000x or more. Everybody subscribe to Craig's YouTube. That's awesome. What's up, Sandy? Let's see. Stake the like button. There you go. What's good, fam? PLS on exchanges versus PLX buy, or PLS on exchanges versus PLSX buy and burn. I mean, PLSX can be on exchanges too. So I think both of those will occur. What's going on? Greece in the house. Hey, everybody. So close. And we're live. What's up, Hex Token? Great job streaming lately. Mr. Anderson, what's up? What's up, Shell? Taking a healthy break from Twitter. Congrats to you. Go mental health. Lurking in most streams. Kyler Kaufman, what's up? Rest of the gang's taking a break. All politicians do want to get paid off. Great take. Grease the squeaky wheel. Yeah, a lot of it's just threats that they can't follow through on, but every once in a while they do, whack somebody financially or otherwise to like prove a point. So I'm not saying it's not a threat at all, but oftentimes it's a threat that's exaggerated and that is effective in soliciting campaign contributions, and it's just how it is. Good luck regulating DeFi. Yeah. Well, I mean, they can regulate Coinbase, and that would suck. On ramps and off ramps. All right, so let me go ahead and take a break from the comments and do my little presentation here. So, does anybody recognize this man? That's right. It's Anthony Pompliano, one of the biggest Bitcoin YouTubers of all time. And, there's people in here that we love to love. There's people that we love to hate. I spared no expense of, I had no shame in walking up to people with, my subtle hex gear on, and so at some point, I think I'm going to kind of troll people on Twitter using our pictures together or something like that. Um, I mean, not any like the cool people, like only the famous people. Um, but anyway, yeah, like I used to watch this guy's show all the time. He had a daily show with his wife, and it was like pretty entertaining. It was like called Bitcoin Lunchbox or something like that. And what can I tell you about Pomp? Meeting Pomp was kind of weird. I walked up to him and he was like showing off to like 3 different guys, calling up Peter Schiff, leaving him a voicemail, being like, "I'm at the Bitcoin conference. How's gold doing? Ha ha ha." So that was kind of entertaining and like totally true to his character on YouTube. And then he was also, I noticed like he was rocking an iPhone 10. Okay. I don't know what to make of that. I'm just, and I don't want to, I mean, I'm not, the iPhone 10 was, is a beautiful phone, but I'll let you, decide what you want for that. What else do we have here? Um, so this is somebody I really admire. This is uh, Bobby Lee, and Bobby Lee is the CEO and founder of BTC China, which was the largest. Well, it was the biggest exchange in the world that hadn't been hacked when they like voluntarily closed down. And they were the ones that made a bunch of Bitcoin poker chips that had the private key underneath it and like all this other stuff. So this guy was definitely somebody who helped me stay into Bitcoin and stay interested in crypto for a long time before Hex came out. He's a Bitcoin billionaire, I believe, and his brother is Charlie Lee, who created Litecoin. It's a funny story. He didn't know that his brother had made Litecoin for like a year or something. That seems weird to me, but anyway, like that's how it goes. And but yeah, so he like found out about it later on, like, what? You actually made that? Anyway, he ended up giving me a what is it, like 1/1000th of a Bitcoin on a little Bitcoin card that his company makes. They make like wallets basically that look like credit cards, but he gave me one for free because he liked all like the sophisticated questions I was asking him about like the history of his Bitcoin company and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, yeah, he was super cool. He had a big booth set up, and yeah, so that was fun. Got to meet Bobby Lee. Let's see who's next here. Oh my gosh. This is the only person who I got a little bit like rowdy with. He was like, so Jimmy Song is like one of the, I don't know, it's in like the top 10 or top 20 like Bitcoin YouTubers. But he's really well known as like bridging the gap between, being a programmer and being a Bitcoin promoter. And so, and he hates Hex. I mean, he hates it. Okay. So he's the first person that I ran into when I got there. And he was filming a documentary as he was walking in. And a few of us went up to him and said hi. I handed him one of my magnets that says Hex to the future. And he like freaked out and he like crumpled it up. And he was like, "Oh, Hex is the worst," and was just like acting really dramatic, which I was kind of surprised. But anyway, yeah, so that's the story there. He like had a meltdown when I brought up Hex. So definitely gonna troll the shit out of him, especially as the price of Hex keeps going up compared to Bitcoin. You know, some of these guys who trash talked Hex, I mean, they really, they're really on the wrong side of history, because Hex has just outperformed Bitcoin, like, 100 to 1 or something crazy. Anyway, let's wrap up the last part of the first slide of 3. And okay, so this is a guy I really respect. Out of all the people, I would say Robert Breedlove is like one of my favorite cats in Bitcoin. He did like a 10-hour lecture series with Michael Saylor. And although I don't respect Michael Saylor very much, I respect Robert Breedlove for some reason. I think it's just like how smart he is and how well he comes off in his videos. And I think he has like pretty good intentions. I remember back when he almost stopped being a Bitcoin maximalist and almost got like kicked out of the Bitcoin royalty family and stuff because I mean, he almost got canceled by all the Bitcoiners because he was even open to hearing anything other than Bitcoin maximalism. So Robert Breedlove, definitely interesting guy, and he was one of the speakers at the conference. Of course, I think all these guys were pretty much that we've gone over so far. So on to the next slide. So I got to have like breakfast with a few people that were connected to Joe Jorgensen, who was a presidential candidate, I guess, who got like over 1% of the popular vote. And Timothy Benjamin hooked that up because he said that she might be interested in speaking at a future Hex conference that I would be throwing. And I didn't actually realize like who Mark Moss was and like how big he was. So like I had to do a little research on the fly. Apparently he has like 300K subs on YouTube, and he has like a nationally syndicated radio talk show about finance, and he's like a pretty big deal, I guess, in Bitcoin. I haven't followed Bitcoin, in a while, and so I wasn't familiar with him, but always good to network with these people who are so high profile. And so he had a couple different talks in the thing, but anyway, what's my take on him? So my take on him was that like I don't think he did a very good job of listening to the Jordan Peterson talk, which was not toxically maximalist. So in the Jordan Peterson talk, like I was pumped. I just learned about Jordan Peterson like a couple months ago, and he's this awesome Canadian psychologist who has all these like super intelligent takes on everything. I mean, he kind of reminds me of Richard in some ways, just he doesn't know that much about crypto, but he's super knowledgeable about everything. And anyway, so I was talking with Mark Moss about the Jordan Peterson talk, and I went and sat in the third row, like at the very front for Jordan Peterson, and was like listening to it really, really intently. And he was saying like, basically, he gave a couple of good points about Bitcoin, like saying that it is ethical to be in crypto and it is ethical to be capitalist, like that's okay. And he gave justification for that, and people can go check out the talk. I think it was fantastic. But he also warned the Bitcoiners that maybe they wouldn't be able to anticipate all the effects of taking control away from central bankers. And he wasn't advocating for central bankers. He was just saying, when you create something that changes the world and you believe that it's only going to do good and that you're going to predict everything that happens when you change a system, he said that seems a little foolish, and that that's something Bitcoiners could work on. And it seems like the Bitcoiners like didn't even process that. It's like it was like half of the talk or like a third of the talk was making this point. And the guy on stage who's doing the interview like isn't in reality at all. He's not paying attention to the conversation. Mark Moss like didn't hear that message. And so I told him, I was like, well, dude, like yeah, maybe you were backstage. Like I kind of give him an out. I was like, dude, maybe you were backstage and you didn't really listen to it that closely. I was like, you need to go back and listen to that talk, because he was trying to say like, oh, Jordan Peterson's in Bitcoin. Yeah, that's great. Like end of story. And I was like, that's not what the talk said. That you false, like incorrect. And so anyway, yeah, like he seemed like a nice enough guy. You know, all these people are nice enough. And so, but it's just interesting to go into the psychology of the Bitcoin maximalists. And look, you know, Hexicans, a lot of us are Richard Hart maximalists, are Hex maximalists, and it's okay. It's okay to be a Bitcoin maximalist if that's what you believe. But if you're only talking your bag and you're ignoring new information and it's coming at you at the Bitcoin conference from somebody who's, you know, super popular and smart and everything, like it's just, it seems like a missed opportunity for some of the people to have not been listening. Anyway, Mark Moss, ladies and gentlemen. Let me see. So this is who, like Preston Syke or something like that. Ran into him at the safety dinner and didn't talk to him at all. Just got a picture really quick. I think he was on his way out, just making an appearance, and I caught him to take a picture. So again, like, I don't know, just another famous face in Bitcoin. You know, you can't catch them all like in a conversation, but at least it was a good start. And then this is, what's her name? Lily Aldridge or something like that. Pretty famous, like Bitcoin influencer. I think she's got programming in her background or something. But again, somebody I didn't really talk to that much, but definitely recognized from my days of following Bitcoiners and people. You know, she's not just like, I think she's like pretty knowledgeable and pretty OG when it comes to Bitcoin. So it's not like she's just popular because she's a girl in Bitcoin or something. And then let me see. Next one here is, anybody recognize who this is? Jessica Vaughn. So she is, she was a playmate, you know, for Playboy, but now she's really defining herself in the Bitcoin space. She's been doing interviews with Pomp like every couple of months, and I got a chance to talk to her a little bit at the Joe Jorgensen breakfast, and you know, pick her brain about a couple things, and that was kind of interesting. So yeah, that was pretty cool. She spoke at the thing too. It was kind of interesting. All right, here we go. Here's the good ones. All right, so got Safe Dean. Okay, I like the guy. I know Richard doesn't like him, you know, for whatever reasons, but you know, this is the guy who I learned probably the most stuff about Bitcoin from, because I took several of his courses. They were good at the time, like before Hex came out. You know, you're kind of looking for anything you can get your hands on when it comes to like deep information, people who are thought leaders in the space, that sort of thing. And so this man wrote, you know, one of the Bitcoin Bibles. Was basically the Bitcoin standard, and he just came out with a book called the Fiat Standard. He's academically trained, PhD, and just had some really great courses about why, you know, central planning can have negative effects on people's, you know, mental health and nutrition and functioning throughout all levels of society. He's the steak guy who advocates eating only steak for some reasons that may be valid or may not be. But anyway, I gave him a special gift. It was 1,000th of a Bitcoin in a silver coin that I used to collect these physical partial Bitcoins. So I gave him one of those. And I also gave him some of the currency, some of the, a $100 trillion bill from Zimbabwe from the same year that a Bitcoin came out. And also a 1 cent bill from the same year. And that's the best example of hyperinflation that has ever existed in reality. And so super interesting to meet him. He was there with his family and he was hosting the entire dinner. There were like 150 people there or something. So just got to see him briefly. This is Pierre Richard, who's like one of the original Bitcoin people that was like a programmer. And I mean, he's super, super OG, right? What's going on with him? So I talked to him a little bit and he is like 100% on a like Bitcoin, Jesus and God kick and like 100% spirituality, like talking about it, kind of making like super loose connections between the two. Like I was having a conversation with him and a couple other guys for a while. Like I was, like an excessive amount of time and they're just kind of like talking so much about how like Bitcoin is good for spirituality, but not like explaining why and stuff. And so I think they're just like really enthusiastic about religion, which like that's awesome. Like I think that's really great. They could work on their talking points a little bit more, maybe, so that they don't sound like they're just putting together two things that they like, and making them connected, like without supporting points. So I won't say too much about that. It's just kind of that was my take, was like he didn't want to talk about Bitcoin. He didn't want to talk about like monetary behavior or psychology or game theory or anything like that. Like supposedly one of, the OG Bitcoiners just like completely went all in on religion and like now talks about that instead of Bitcoin, which is again, like, more power to him. And that makes me happy at some level that he's, finding something that's more meaningful than money and that sort of thing. Just, I think it's interesting and that's why I'm providing commentary on it. This is just like the chick that was running the conference. So I got a picture with her and I don't even know her name, but yeah. And then here's the one everybody's been waiting for, right? The guy who rips up currency and, forces orange pills down everybody's throat. Max Kaiser himself, showing how much he loves the hex tie that I'm wearing. That's freaking hilarious. You can't make this shit up. So I don't know what else I can say about this guy. Like, he's crazy. I kind of hate him. And but a lot of people like him. And obviously we're having a blast here, acting crazy. So David said, lucky he didn't rip up your time. Yo, for real. He likes hex. Nice. So that's what I got for now. I shot some content with the DeLorean. I probably got a couple other like little surprises to show off from the Bitcoin conference, but that's these were the main things I wanted to show off for now. And overall, I think it was a huge success again, because I'm going to be going on a bunch of people's shows talking about PulseX, Hex, and the free airdrop that everybody's getting. Oh yeah, I made like mad connections with the Methuselah Foundation, which is the parent foundation of the Sens Foundation. I met with the CEO and we had a great talk about how to allow them to get their free copy of all the coins that they have in their treasury on PulseChain. They're super excited about that. They're thinking about self-custodying and everything because of it. And also talked about a number of other things that that are really important that we'll be reporting on as they come up. Super good networking. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for shouting me out. Yeah, it was a lot of work going there, and but I was happy to do it because I want to contribute in ways that are going to scale more and that will be more huge when it comes to allowing Hex to go viral, right? So let's see here. So I did meet B Roots, the guy who went on Joker's stream a couple weeks ago, and is a pretty wild character. I got to meet him and like a few YouTubers that he runs around with, and that was really cool. They were so awesome. I kicked it with them for part of the afternoon, and one of them was a UFC fighter, and he kept trying to win the one Bitcoin prize, so like $40,000 prize for staying on this this bull ride, like a mechanical bull. And he had gotten like third place, and it was like a 3-day competition. So he kept going back trying to ride it longer. And it was really funny to watch everybody go flying off the thing. I think overall, like the Bitcoin conference, they didn't do the best job of really like representing Bitcoin in some ways because they weren't saying new things about it. There was like a crummy announcement that like some country that nobody ever heard of was going to adopt it. Like the volcano guy didn't even show up for his talk. He like arrested 1,000 people in his home country for no reason because he was like scared to like go to the Bitcoin conference or something. Um, so that was really funny. But I mean, the way that they ran their conference was incredible. They had an awesome concert at the end with Logic playing on one stage and Deadmau5 playing on another. The conference center was amazing. It was gigantic. They had, like I said, they had 25,000 people there. Every aspect of it was running super smoothly, and I was super impressed by the organization. It's gonna be really cool when we get there, because Hex is next, right? Oh yeah, and then Jack Mahler was like, I listened to his talk. He was like the one that got the audience the most pumped up out of like Peter Thiel, like Jordan Peterson, like those two guys were talking about other shit. I mean, Jordan Peterson was like, yeah, I like Bitcoin, but it might have unintended consequences for society. And then Peter Thiel was like trying to shill Ethereum the whole time. And then Michael Saylor, like, everybody pretty much can tell he's just a scumbag. So it doesn't really matter what he talks about. People are just like, yeah. You're not like buying like you used to, so we don't love you anymore. And then, so Jack Mahler's was like the premier guy going up there. And of course, he was the guy who announced last year that El Salvador was going to make it official. Him and like Samson Mao or something. But he did his keynote. I was there live, and he was like so excited that you could use that his company Strike made it so that you can use Bitcoin at every gas station and freaking convenience store and grocery store in the world because they partnered with some like evil payment processing place. And it's like, I don't know if people just understand that that's bad for price. If everybody can spend their Bitcoin everywhere. And it's a big experiment because we don't know. Maybe um having a little logo, a tiny little, like nanometer logo when people are checking out, maybe that'll end up being a net positive because more people will buy Bitcoin because it's accepted there. But I don't know. It seemed like underwhelming, kind of like, oh my God, like it's 2022. We can use it finally to buy our beer at gas stations. Like, okay, cool. I mean, if you think the price is going up so much more, then why are you giving people easier ways to spend it? When you buy things with your Bitcoin, then the price goes down because people are selling it. Bitcoin becomes the dumb pipes, don't you know? So, but Jack is still pretty loved, and he was pacing back and forth on stage, like getting himself super hyped up to like explain to people how payments work. Like, person A is trying to pay store B, and it's, I don't know, it just seemed like, duh, like, wasn't very revolutionary if you ask me, but hey, what do I know? Yeah, 25K. New hexagons. Bull riding is a yeah. Yeah, it was that was the most entertaining part, I must say, of the conference. Oh shit, I almost forgot. I met like tons of industry people too. I met the guys from Transact who process payments for MetaMask. I met people from a centralized exchange that might be willing to like list Pulse and that kind of shit. Um, I met somebody who makes like really sweet jerseys, which like, hey, let's work out a little deal and get some like super comfortable hex jerseys or something. What else? It seems like in every like position there was somebody who I was meeting. It was like, wow, this is like a really awesome portfolio of contacts that just like appeared out of nowhere. And of course, I was wearing my hex pants and some little shill the whole time, so people knew what was up. Some of the celebrities that I talked to, they like were kind of surprised I didn't bring up hex, and I was kind of respectful. But that, I mean, it really plants a seed in their mind for some of them, if I'm not shilling it hardcore, but they read the writing on the wall and they're like, oh shit, this guy doesn't even need to show. Like, what am I missing? Of course I did. I mean, I shilled in some I just used my therapy, skills to read people and to determine in which cases it was appropriate and in which cases it would turn people off. And Jimmy's song, let's be real, that was a throwaway meeting. Like, I just want to rub it in his face. And I did. Yeah, it was probably, yeah, you're right, David. They probably lied about the numbers. I was thinking that too. Yeah, use fiat, exactly. Like, haven't you heard of Gresham's law? Like, you're supposed to use your shitty money first, not your good money. The payment system is not worth as much as the store value. Let BTC be peer-to-peer cash and currency. Yeah, and if you go back, I rewatched the Peter Thiel one today, and it's really interesting how after that panel they were trying to analyze it, and they were like, no, really, like Bitcoin is a payment network that's instant and it's a store of value, and that's why Peter Thiel was wrong, and crying about the fact that Peter Thiel said that Ethereum was a better payment network, which also it is not. Like, to be fair, nobody's paying a $35 transaction fee to like buy something, or if they are, that sucks for everybody involved. So That's right. Johnny Chaos, what's up? Oh man, indirect product awareness. That's right. Well done. Thanks. Maddie, best rep for Hex, the kindness factor. Thank you. Hey, Maddie, when do you think PulseChain will ever go live? Seriously, this is so dragging out. I think that it'll come out probably in the next month. The stack balances are coming along, which is one of the main things that Richard said this week that he's waiting for. He said it would probably be 2 weeks out after the stack balances are good. Now, I looked at my stack balances today again, and I noticed that they have correctly marked that the sends donation went through. So that's a really good sign to me, because that was the most manual part of the whole thing. Richard was also explaining that like there were 2,000 different coins sacrificed, and that they had problems getting the price feeds to be perfect for those, because certain websites that publish the price go back and change the prices, probably because they don't want like Scamwix screwing with stuff, but it's kind of messed up. So yeah, I mean, hey, I would love for it to launch today as well. But I think it's coming. I think it's coming up soon. You know, scaling in the liquidity of the fixer bot is a huge thing that probably saved a couple months at least, but and will perform better. You know, what Richard said in his talk was you should be working on your strategy of like what you want to do when the system launches. That's his advice. Like, get on the testnet. Tic Tac Crypto, May 5th is your bet. Interesting. Johnny says Hex was in development for a year, for sure. The Coke bottle on the silver screen. I think you're referring to Jack Mallers doing a product demonstration and making a joke that only half the crowd got, or less, because very few Bitcoiners are technically inclined. Otherwise, they would be Hexicans. But he's making a joke because he made a little video of himself buying a can of Coca-Cola from like a convenience store. And he said, "Oh my gosh, it's so cool. You can buy it on the Tor network." He was like, "You can buy Coke with Bitcoin on the Tor network." And so he was showing like, you know, his method of using privacy on the Bitcoin Lightning network or whatever, which, I mean, I don't even know if that's true, because like his company Strike makes you KYC or shit anyway. So it's like, whatever. But anyway, he was talking about like buying drugs on the dark web, because that's what you would want privacy for. So I think it's kind of funny. Good on you, Maddie. Throw it in their faces. Thanks for all you do. You got true Hexican blood coursing through your heart. Thank you. Thank you, Tin Top. What is the cost for a Bitcoin transaction? I don't really know. So I used a Lightning wallet at the conference because I wanted to see how it worked. And I was able to find one that does not do KYC, which is called Moon Wallet, except it's spelled wrong. It's MUUN. And anyway, so like, you know, I put a couple $100 on there and used it to buy a t-shirt because they gave me like $10 off. And yeah, it worked, I guess. But again, you know, like, what did you like run out of things to do in Bitcoin? Like, couldn't you make the code better instead of trying, you know, couldn't you start a bug bounty program instead of just trying to like make fast payments and stuff? I guess it's fine, like do your fast payments and everything, but hey, I still hold a tiny little bit of Bitcoin, and I don't want the price to go down. So maybe they should stop taking his payments. I bet you could Google that though. So I think I paid a fee when I took the money from Coinbase to Moon Wallet. It didn't show me what the fiat value was. Jack and Strike introduced the first dial-up modem version of getting around the existing payment network rails. There you go. All these crap coins that were sacked messing with the launch. Yeah. So I think in some cases, Richard is just going to not give the coins that have really bad price feeds, not give them the benefit of the doubt, not let them slow things down. Because there were instructions that said, don't send all these 2,000 different coins. There were, I don't know, a couple hundred coins or something that were supported. So he's like going to great lengths to like accommodate people and, doesn't have to because it was literally a sacrifice anyway. So. My 1 inch is now showing up and that wasn't supported. So that's good too. Hey, congrats. Robert Online, Maddie, thanks for the work that you do. My pleasure. I'm loading up on Liquid Hex to mint Maxi tokenized shares of a pooled max length X stake. Huh. That sounds like the Trevon James thing, which has like a 10% in and out cost. So that doesn't really benefit you too much. You're still, so even if you get a max, I mean, you can already get a max length stake on your own. Maybe you're talking about a max size where you're doing, where people are pulling together to get 100 million hex to get them but that's only a 10% bonus. So I'm not sure that the math works out on that to be in your best favor, but let me know if you think I'm wrong. RH is too nice and trying to help people who can't follow instructions. Single stake. I haven't heard of this Maxi thing, but that sounds like Hex Max. So some people consider that to be a scam. Some people consider it to be legitimate. Tor is not safe alone. Interesting. I've heard that too. Thanks, Maddie, for your thoughts. What sort of returns do you think we may be able to get from just staking PulseChain and PulseX, just staking each of these? I don't know. 5%, 2%, something nominal that will make people want to do it, but not burden us with the cost. Because like all these things have to pay for themselves, right? Hex pays for its staking rewards by issuing coins and paying inflation to the people who are holding up the price. That's like a pretty good method. That's how you can get more than a nominal percent, more than 1% or 5%. You can get 10 or 12% a year or 36% a year if you're going for 6 years, Wasn't Tor the browser for Silk Road? Yes. Oh, that reminds me. I met Ross Ulbricht's mom and I talked with her for a while and I might help her set up a YouTube channel because I think freeing Ross is like a super important thing. And I will speak on that more in the future. But yeah, Ross Ulbricht was like falsely, I mean, I need to look into it more and like brush up on the facts because like every Bitcoiner kind of knows about Ross Ulbricht and how he was sentenced to 200 years for literally just making a website, the Silk Road, that allowed people to transact in Bitcoin. And he never murdered anybody. He never trafficked anybody himself. And he never sold any drugs, but he's already served more time in prison than people who actually did commit those crimes. So, and she's like the sweetest lady, Lynn Ulbrich. And so I hope I can help her in one way or another. And, do more volunteer work for causes that I believe in. That's what being financially free in Hex, that's why it's so meaningful to me. It's 'cause it allows me to not have to trade my time for dollars and be able to give back in ways that hopefully are productive and make the world a better place. And I wish that all of the rich people in the world would do more of that. So why not lead by example? You want privacy, then you'll look into that. Interesting. My friend bought a burger with his Lightning wallet off the food truck. Congrats to your friend. Yeah. I guess that's why the Bitcoin price kept going down during the whole conference. What's up, DJ Pollywood? Thanks for being a subscriber here on the YouTube channel. A member. Yes. What's up, Dean? Don't start a sentence with my 1 inch. Talking about the 1 inch token, everybody. Pulse will have a Lightning node at launch. So in the first month, Pulse will catch up with BTC's Lightning development. Very true. RH discussed during the PLS launch, he would possibly send Poo coins back. All right. There's no 10% in and out fees for Maxi. Maximus is not HexMax. Okay. Looks like there's a new coin in town. People are shelling it here. Maxi allows a pool for bigger pays better bonus, no fees. Okay, so you're getting like 10% more and you're suffering the contract risk. Might pay off. Everybody likes it. Interesting. You really want that smart contract risk for 10% more? No, he's not getting out of jail soon. I talked to his mom. That's a lie. And she was like, she sold some NFTs on Ethereum and all the Bitcoiners got so pissed off at her, they did not let her speak at the conference. It's really fucked up. Lynn Ulbrich was not allowed to. So like what they did instead is they pre-recorded her and they played it after some of the concerts. But they didn't have any call to action. They didn't like throw a QR code up on the screen so people can use their Lightning wallets and send a little bit of money there. Like, what's wrong with you people? Literally the man who like popularized Bitcoin in, some ways, very infamously, but like has served his time. Like his sentence should get commuted, but couldn't even throw up a freaking Lightning wallet QR code for the man. Like, that's pretty shitty. Bitcoin conference people. Terrible. It's awesome that 4 of the Sense Foundation board members resigned. Do you think any more will quit? Yeah, I think I will keep writing articles until they do. Exposing their lies. And then they're going to get the shit suit out of them too. Group's taking a break. It's considered healthy. All right, guys. Like, you could talk to me about it. It seems Hex related enough. Okay. I'll tell you what I like about it, and I'll tell you what I don't like about it. And, you know, you can fuck off if like you don't like my opinion, but people know that they can trust me to like give an honest take. Security audits are cool, but they're not the end all be all because you could just change the code after the security audit has happened. And if you don't know how to read code and you're not doing your own security audit, then you're really trusting people. And, you know, you can make the same argument for Hex, but Hex has had a lot of people audit the code themselves, like Future Us, who's read every line of the code. So, but that's cool. I mean, that's cool that they got an audit. You know, that's better than not having an audit. Okay, yeah, I was planning on brushing up on my facts about Ross. I think, you know, he's already served about as much time as somebody would serve for murdering somebody. So he shouldn't serve 200 years. That would suck. Probably. Unless he was like trafficking people, and then maybe he should. Maximus DAO also has no EES function. One hex pooled equals one maxi out. All holders return their maxi back to the pool at the end of the Quattro Cinco to redeem all the hex in Hedron yield. Oh, that's kind of cool. Nice. What's the fee? How does the creator of this make money? Let him do his research. We don't need to take over his comment section with Shilin. I mean, are the stakes tradable? Because that would suck. People know I don't like tradable stakes. But if it's not tradable, then I think that's pretty cool that they have the EES function disabled. That's actually really cool. And all the haters who are out there, like who have said that I don't like people building on Hex, and all that other like, you didn't spend any of your Hex on the shrimp farm, so get out of here. If you haven't like been in the space long enough to be scammed, like here and there a little bit, then you have no room to talk. And anyway, that's cool. You have piqued my interest. Maybe it will be interesting which OG Hexicans pre-BPD will jump in and or push Maximus versus all of us who didn't get BPD. Honestly, the $150 million worth of Hex unlocking at once in 15 years scares me for dollar price. That's a good point. So does it wait until you have 100 million Hex to stake? And in that case, are you missing out on the T-share rate while it's building up to that? I mean, it seems Hex related enough that I am cool talking about it. Yeah, it's fine, guys. What's up? What's up, Adam? Anything besides PulseX, and Hex is a rug pull. Yeah, I mean, we can educate the audience and see what we all decide on our own. Yeah, thanks. What happened with me in Wales? You know, Wales is awesome. And I think he was planning to leave the show anyway because he wanted to pursue some things that I think he knew not everybody was on board with. And but like he's been super honest with his audience about that. And so that makes me still respect him a lot. I think he still respects me. And so we're still on good terms as far as I know. You know, it was an awesome run that we had for sure. We had an awesome run. And a lot of those episodes, you can go back and still learn so much. I go back sometimes when I'm traveling or when I have time to kill, and I go back and listen to those early Quant Gang episodes. You can go to quantgang.com and pull up the playlist of the greatest hits. I mean, fun fact to just throw out there. I think it was like maybe the 4th episode or something. The first time we had Wave 3 on, he came on and he was like, "Hey guys, I bought a website called lookintohex.com. If anybody wants it, if they want to use it to promote Hex, DM me and I'll give it to you for free." And it's like, I think we all know who grabbed that domain up and made it really popular. So many examples of how that show, I think, did a lot of good for people. So I'm still proud of our work together. We did. Appreciate your objective opinions, Maddie. Much love. It's really easy to hash the contract and compare to the auditor hash. No need to read at all. Okay. Who did the audit? Scares me for the hex price. Yeah. Taxi driver from Vegas, saw you at the convention, hooked up with Kyle, helped me understand everything. Hope to see you at PulseCon. Brad, great video, chat, work, keep it going. I wrapped a steak in Hedron, question mark. Okay, Brad, it sounds like you were onboarded from the Hex conference, and maybe you were the one that A-Bit onboarded. So shout out to you. As Sensei Dozy says, it's a great day to be a Hexakin. Bob Lagai is my man. What is up? The creator is not making any money, no fees. Hey, now I like that. That's some good shit. That reminds me of T-Share app, the thing that Few Trust and I built where we don't take any fees. Creators buy in at the beginning. So they're just benefiting from getting 10% more Hex because that's what the bigger pays better bonus is that they would be getting in on. Cool. He's doing it as a public service. Very nice. Converted my friend who thought Dogecoin was going to be $1 into a Hexakin. He's in for a wild ride. Well done, Angel. Stakes just sit in the contract. The maxi are tradable. Well, there you go. That's the catch. Seems post-launch verification of contract. So, I mean, that somewhat resolves the issue of like it all coming out at the end at the same time, because if everybody can trade their stakes earlier, then that like hurts buy pressure and like hurts marketing and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think tradable stakes are worth it, but it does somewhat resolve the problem where 100 million hex are coming out at the end because people can trade those around earlier on. Seems post-launch verification of contract code should be part of a security audit, but guess not. It should be. Super good point. Super good. You deserve an award, my friend. Excellent comment. Excellent comment. That's some critical thinking right there, people. Everybody give a round of applause for this comment. They act like Hex a share back coupons. Okay. Well, forgot about the shrimps. Yeah, that's right. Wrecked. Whales like Maxi. Why? Because they can trade them and cause other people to be their exit liquidity. The DeLorean is safe and sound back home. That is correct. And it was a crowd pleaser. I parked it on Miami Beach on the main road every night. I went out there and I talked to people and I networked and I got rappers and freaking people with 1 million followers on freaking Instagram and stuff. Like, I got connected with all the people and they all freaking loved it. So many people ran up and took pictures. There was a crowd around it the entire time. It was so much fun. It was a lot of work. Didn't get to go out and party really because I was out there pumping all of our hex bags. So there we go. Any news about a new hex tour? Yeah, I think there's a new hex tour going around. Yes, I think Patrick is doing that. So go to their Telegram and you can find out more. T.me/US road tour chat, or is it US road trip chat? One of those. 14-day window to exchange your hex for Maxi. It's 150 million hex. In 15 years, hex could be $50 each easily. Well, not if people are trading around their shares, so they're not really locked in. The only reason why hex ever got up to 10,000 hex is because people were locked in and had to choose between emergency and staking and paying everybody or waiting until their stake comes out. Literally, the fact that we're outperforming Bitcoin and Ethereum is like proof. Like 80% of people who ever staked are still staked. It's all proof that staking and not having tradable shares is the reason why the price has gone up so much. So if new people want 1,000x on their hex, like, they should not be fucking with tradable shares, if you ask me. Like, but what do I know? Like, so it's a derivative. Maddie's the wrong person to pitch to. Aha. Yeah. Oh, so a 14-day waiting period and then stakes whatever's there. So it might only be 10 million hex or something, and then you're trapped getting a 1% thing. But then so you say there's no EES, which is like, but it's tradable. So I don't know. What's my stance on liquid loans? I think it's cool that they're testing it out on PulseChain and that they decided not to do like a loan contract for Hex. And I think that they've got pretty good marketing, and I kind of hate myself for saying this as like one of my criteria, but I'm just going to be completely honest. Liquid loans, like, those people have like manners. I mean, they're good at communicating, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, very respectful, very informative, like that sort of thing. And I think that we'll see whether they're successful or not in their endeavor. But I think every time they've explained it to me, it like made perfectly good sense. That what I can relate it to is that there's this real estate play that all the billionaires in the world do, where they don't have to pay taxes ever because they just borrow money against the real estate, and then they pay back the loan, and they don't ever have to pay taxes because they don't ever have income, because all the stuff they buy is on credit. So like, if that's what you're doing with your Pulse and you're not getting leveraged, that much and that sort of thing, like maybe it'll work out. But I'm going to be very cautious in this whole world of stuff that isn't fully proven yet. So I sacrificed like a tiny little bit just to like have a little skin in the game. I sacrificed a tiny little bit for liquid loans. I didn't do any other non-RH sacrifices other than that. There's only one stake backing maxi, one big stake. Yeah. V5 is just I'm being facetious and saying like every episode, instead of naming it like number 5 or like episode 5 or something, I'm just naming it V5. But I don't think people like that joke, because when I said V4, like was my 4th episode of doing a Twitter Spaces, tons of people showed up and were like, oh my God, what's V4? Like, is it a testnet? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, this is lost on all of you. But I could kind of see, like, going into their perspective, I could kind of see like, yeah, that is a little bit clickbaity, although it's not meant to be. It was just literally like stakers like been coming out with V2 for like over a year. Like, you know, so I was just like V1, V2, V3, like that. I don't know. I'm just like not even trying to troll. I'm just amusing myself with the titles. You know, once you've been making titles for like a year and a half, you know, you just try to mix it up a little bit. Okay, got that backwards earlier than reading the white paper. Still lots of hex dumping at once, almost like an inverse BTC having, but it is a lot of T-shares off the market. That's cool. But it's not T-shares, like it's T-shares off the market, but it's not hex off the market like it would be if you made a regular stake, because you can trade it at any time. Where's the picture with Tone Vase? I don't think he was there. I don't think he was there. Which he has his own conference. He had a conference right before my conference in Vegas. I don't think he was there. Oh my God. Oh my God. All right. I'm glad you guys are asking random questions about the conference, because like I keep forgetting all these different pieces. I literally like there were 3 days in the past 2 weeks where I didn't sleep because I was like driving so much. So like my memory is still reconfiguring. It's still loading, but I saw Alexander Svensky at the safety dinner. Oh shit. So this is the guy who like lost so hard to Richard in a debate that the Bitcoin conference channel had to take the video down, right? I mean, like, this man called Richard fat and said he pays for sex. Like, he only had evidence for one of those things. And that was his debate. That was like, it was terrible. Yeah. Oh, okay. So like, yeah, this person's asking. So like, I saw him at the dinner, like, didn't want to go up to him because first of all, he sucks. And second of all, it seemed like him and his date, I assume like his girlfriend or something, they were like arguing the whole time. Like he was not having a good night. So I don't know if she finally saw the RH interview or what, but she was not happy with that man. They were arguing like kids. So that's probably the juiciest, like that's one of the juiciest things. I almost forgot to share it. So there you go. I don't know if I should feel sorry for him or not, but this is totally a jerk in the interview. So I learned so much from Quan Gang. Loved it a lot for sure. We should do a reunion someday. Plus side of tradable maxi on the market will be scarce. I'm not sure I understand that. Imagine a lot of hexicans getting together, creating one big stake for 4-5, issue coupons for every hex put in, and then start trading the coupons. That's maxi. I don't think that's the best play for anybody involved, but I like that the creator doesn't take a fee and whatever. Verify, but stay suspicious always. Man who respects his bag. Yeah, and just like the value proposition of hex, which like is easy to forget, I guess. It's like saving yourself from yourself, like time locking, then serving the time and actually waiting. That's something that humans are terrible at doing because we live in a corrupt inflationary system, and we need something to change us, to change our monetary environment. So if we end up rebuilding the same goddamn thing that we had before, then just remember I told you so. Remember to buy the dip. That's right. You know, I've got 2 hex mugs, and because of the Bitcoin conference, I had to use Tears of Hex Haters tonight. But the other mug, of course, is by the dip. So I advise both drinking the Tears of Hex Haters and buying the dip at the same time. That is the absolute best use case for dollar cost averaging. Wonderful. There's a maxi token that will be tradable. There you go. In regards to what does the maxi creator get on the crypto coffee stream, he said pumping the hex ecosystem and price is his payment. It's Whalebot's creator. Good dude. Oh, dip catcher. Okay. Over 5x to return to an all-time high. That'd be great. Oh, hey, that reminds me what Richard said super subtly was, hey, what happens if I don't even know if I should say it. I want to say Richard was like, what happens if all the money that got sacrificed and or some of the OA's Pulse and PulseX got used to buy Hex someday? Go back and watch his most recent interview and tell me if you heard what I heard. Because, hey, I'm just the guy that heard whenever Richard said, oh, it seems like somebody keeps buying Hex when it was dropping less than a third of a penny. And I think we all, looking back, know who that was. He said that at like the first Hex conference online, I want to say. So I'm just saying that was my indicator back then. And, you know, he can't just come out and say it, but he was really tiptoeing around the idea that the OA could keep buying Hex. That's what the OA has been doing for a long ass time. And like nobody talks about it. So it's probably the most important pumpamental. And I said on this show last week, or was it the week before? It was my new take. Like Hex is actually deflationary if you count the OA buying up an extra 40% of the supply after it already had half the supply. Like, and that's, in my opinion, super bullish. That's one of the top reasons why I think Hex is not a rug pull and why I think it'll continue to do super, super well. What's up? Caught you in a random Miami walk around video. Bunch of guys crawling all over the car. Hey, yeah, totally. I made sure to give everybody who wanted to like a good experience with the DeLorean because I think it's a really good marketing thing for Hex. Never forget the shrimp Alfredo. That's right. Thanks, Brissology. They call that Ocean Drive. Yeah, that's where it was. Where's Feeder and K4K? Well, it looks like they're taking the night off, but I assure you all as well in the fam. Let's see. Maxi is a T-share rate DeLorean time machine. Since you can buy Maxi and it represents a T-share rate at today's time, not way into the future. Yeah, but you could trade it, so your weak hands are not really reaching through space-time in the same way that your legacy MetaMask stakes are, that are non-transferable. So Hexakin from Hexaco, good to see you in Miami, Maddie. Hey, there were a handful of people who came up to me and said hi, maybe more than that knew me from the channel. So shout out to you. It was great seeing everybody there as well. It really brightened my day when Hexakins popped out of the woodwork. Let's see. I understand it kind of breaks the delayed gratification mechanic of Hex. Maybe it appeals and onboards people that would otherwise keep Hex liquid. Yeah, I think that was my takeaway in episode 3 or 4, where I really started to come around to like, okay, how could wrapped Hex stakes not be terrible? And that's what I compared it to. It's like liquid Hex. And that's why I'm not bearish on Hex because of wrapped Hex stakes. So, yay. Thanks for bringing that up again, because that's the most advanced thinking that I have on the topic, that it'll be fine, which is good news. Certainly good news for me, because I definitely have skin in the game. Want Hex to continue to do super well. I'm not a huge proponent of these coins. Personal Hex ladder is the best of the best in my opinion. This is just info. Yeah, awesome. There you go. These contracts should lower early end stakes and thus lower daily payout because less penalties. Yeah. Yeah. Let's give Maddie a chance to do his own research, folks. Fair enough. Yeah. Thank you for that. I don't mind this conversation that we're having, you all educating me. And I would tell you if I had a problem with it. So Hex gets locked for 15 years. You say that, but it's tradable, so it's not really locked. And again, going back to this earlier point, it's similar to liquid Hex. So that's the reason why it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of Hex. It's not the worst thing ever. But I prefer to be precise in my language. And something that's tradable is not locked. That's not possible. So maybe you're getting paid like it's locked, but the majority of the price appreciation from Hex, half of it comes from staking so far. I mean, that'll increase in the future, but the majority of the force multiplier comes from adoption. So it's a mixture, but it doesn't really get locked. It pays out like it's locked, but you could trade it. And so people will dump it earlier than they would have otherwise, likely. I hope we see $50 Hex before 15 years. I think Hex has another. I mean, with PulseChain, Hex has another 1000x for sure. Not financial advice. I mean, just think about what Bitcoin did and think about how many more fundamentals Hex has. I think. Smash the likes. What's up, Hex Pulse Radio? I mean, but $50 Hex, so that's like 1000x, right? From like 50 cents from the all-time high. I'm just doing the math here real quick. No, that's $500 Hex. Damn. I'm over here saying like, nah, $50 Hex is like way too much. But I mean, hey, people thought that $50,000 Bitcoin would never happen back when it was $1. Or for comparison, when it was $5, $50. Yeah, because then it had another 1000x after that. So it's like, so Hex at $500 is similar to Bitcoin going from $50 to 50,000. Shocking. But remember, part of the reason that Bitcoin could appreciate that much is everybody sold it when the price went up. So there was new people could acquire it that had stronger hands. I liked the SAC for free Pulse mostly because those guys are tied to RH. Did they have a sacrifice? I didn't know about that. Interesting. I don't. Are you sure? I talked to the free Pulse guy on Twitter Spaces, and it was a great discussion. Staking ladders are the best. Svetsky, embarrassment to us Australians. Shout out to you. Was the dinner tense? The dinner was like super dope. I met like a physician who runs like his own omega-3 company that I want to partner with. And I met another guy who like is an engineer at Audible for Amazon. And like, they were both like super rich and cool. No, the dinner was cool. Like people who pay like a couple $100 to go to a safety and dinner, like pretty cool. Cool crowd. Good thing RH made a 4K copy of it. The guy was such an arrogant fool, Maxi. That's right. He only had evidence for one of those things. Oh. His day was mad. He didn't get in Hex. Maddie, you're making my day. So you guys like the dinner story about Alexander Svetsky. Like, I don't care about the price. Don't care about the price today. I care about the price centuries from now. Probably lost the argument with this date as well. Yo, you guys, we're being mad, or we're being like, yeah, we're being really mean. Don't feel bad, Maddie. Svetsky is a vlog. I don't know. I don't want like. All right, fine. We can make fun of him a little bit more. I like that Maxi includes the Hedron claim as well. Yeah, I mean, that is kind of cool. Did Svetsky eat a banana at the conference? No, that was the other guy. The other guy was there in person. Like the guy who was eating a banana. Did they both eat bananas? I know the guy who hosts the show was there. Sacrifices are war chests to protect the price. Oh my god, that would be ultra epic. LOL. Only true believers, the owners of Hex will profit. War chests are the most important pumpamental. Stock buyback, says Johnny Chaos. But people will twist it. Careful, we get penalized for transparency. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Like I said, I'm going to go on a bunch of other channels of people who have huge audiences and see what works. See what sound bites. Because I mean, that's the huge benefit of these conferences and going and meeting hundreds of people in real life and pitching them on Hex and the ecosystem and reading their micro expressions, things that I can't get from live stream comments and that sort of thing. Is like super helpful for me to refine my pitch. Thanks for your take on liquid loans, Maddie. My pleasure. People getting mad for RH buying watches instead of Hex don't get He is a man with a plan. Okay, I have a hot take on that. So RH might realize this or he might not, but I believe that he has spent way more on watches than he has developing the Pulse chain, which will literally take over Ethereum and put it to shame. Which I think is really good in a regulator's view to say that Hex is not a security and that Pulse is not a security. Because we literally sacrificed our money and so little money was actually used to develop Pulse. I think it's, first of all, super impressive. And second of all, I think it's like a huge flex. Maybe you can see what I'm saying with like, you know, that there's some loose connection there between the Howey test and just the minute cost of PulseChain. I think we calculated like maybe $1.5 million to $3 million is being spent on it. But really, that's the synergy of creating Hex, which was a hybrid proof of work, proof of stake system, is that you get all these brilliant minds working together and you don't have to waste a bunch of money. You know, some of these sacrifice projects will ultimately spend way more money than it took RH to develop PulseChain because they're not getting the best deal because their devs are taking them for all they're worth and aren't interested in, if you're not getting to work with RH, you're wanting to charge as much as you can. And so I think some hexagons have said that the going rate is like now up to $50,000 a month for a dev. And if you multiply that by 12 months, you're paying like $600,000 for a dev. And RH is paying like 250 or 150, somewhere in there per year for like his, superstar team of like 5 to 10 devs. So, and then he got his Amazon server costs, but like a lot of it, a lot of us volunteered. There were 80 of us who volunteered in the Pulse game theory planning secret Telegram chat room. Like we, and what are we getting out of that? Like we're getting to be part of history. Our idea is to be incorporated into the final product in some cases and pumping our own bags. So it's really cool. But I think like part of the reason why there are so many rug pulls and so much inefficiency and like problems with the game theory of crypto in general is because like the people who raise money for devs don't have the skills to like make the devs do the work. And the incentives aren't right for the devs because they're going to get paid no matter what. And they hold all the cards and hold all the leverage. Randy Hilarski has talked about like his, and many others have talked about their like failures with working with devs and paying tons of money and not getting anything in return. So all these people who are like going out there and raising money and saying like, hey, we're going to pay devs, like the guy who was on Jim Rat Crypto stream earlier, like didn't seem to have any caution about this like problem that honest, hardworking, effective devs are super rare, and you're going to way overpay, and then you have to get lucky to not get rug pulled. And sometimes it's going to take you hundreds of thousands of dollars to even figure out who all the bad apples are. This is something that Richard has figured out, and he's not sharing his devs. So, I mean, and like Richard has made the point too that like, in like all of these huge applications that are used by like everybody in the world, usually there's like one or two guys that wrote the majority of the code for it. It's like you put together these giant teams, but really it's only the best of the best that end up delivering the code that actually works and gets adopted. Which is not, it's another reason why I feel really lucky to know future us because he's one of these brilliant devs that can like deliver on something, and he didn't charge anything when we created T-Share app, and that's super unusual, but for a lot of reasons. So, but that's a problem that needs to be solved in crypto, like in general, is like all the ICOs and everything. Like, why do you think all the ICOs failed? Because they got the money up front because they didn't have a mechanism to like make the devs deliver on what they were promising. So they just burned all the money like on marketing, trying to get more money without ever fixing the problem of getting the right devs. I think that's a super interesting point that gets overlooked. It's like if you want to build something on the blockchain, like, and you just want to be the idea guy, like not actually code anything, then you've got some, you've got like way more problem solving to do. I think that's what a lot of Hexagon people are going to find out, and I think a lot of people are going to learn the hard way that lesson, even in the Hex community. K4K had a good follow-up interview with Alex Lorenzo. That's awesome. And I think Alex Lorenzo is also going on Crypto Heartbeat's show tomorrow. Right on. Imagine if stocks that got bought back on Wall Street never went back on the stock market. Yeah, how incredible would that be? I mean, whenever I take like a super long pause like that, you might know that I'm trying to figure out if this is something that should be public or not. But let's go for it. You all stuck around and you're supporting me, even though I'm the only gang member up here tonight. So the OAs, I mean, this is like genius freaking level stuff that like needs to be pointed out, right? So it may have been that Ethereum was used in the adoption amplifier. It was recycled to buy up the Hex to make sure that Hex didn't ever get sold too cheaply, because then somebody would have been able to buy it up and then dump it on the market as it went up in price. So the OA doing buybacks both during the adoption amplifier and afterwards worked out. I mean, are you mad that you got a little bit less Hex than you could have, but then that Hex was worth way more in the end if you hold on to it? No. Show me on the chart where it hurt you. And I don't think it did if you were buying that early, if you were buying at the same time as the OA. Now, that Hex that was accumulated by the OA, $14 billion worth, was used to sacrifice for PulseX, right? And some of it was used to sacrifice for Pulse. And so we're seeing the same pattern of things being recycled, but it creating value, right? And so if if the PulseX that and the Pulse that was is now owned by the OA, if that is able to be used to buy back even more Hex, well, that's incredible. That, like, if I wasn't all in Hex, I probably wouldn't be telling you this because I would be buying it up so hard right now. But yeah, I want to say that's what the game theory says, is like maybe the OA will value PulseX and Pulse so highly that it won't buy more Hex with it. But the way Richard was talking in the Alex Lorenzo or whatever in that interview, I mean, go rewatch it, don't take my word for it. But now that I've planted the idea in your head, just remember where you heard it first, that that there could be a super clear path to multi-dollar hex just with that right there could be insane, right? Because if people don't want hex, if people aren't going to pay a shitload of money for hex in the future, I know somebody who will, and their name is the OA. Also, I'm like turning into such a big fan of the OA. I feel like somebody should get an OA tattoo. How cool would that? I haven't seen that yet. I'm just saying. I don't have any tattoos, and I'm not sure I'm gonna get one. But if I did, it might be like the OA with like a heart. Like, who's the OA? Well, somebody loves the OA, so maybe that's it. Anyway, I feel like that is an insane game theory item to drop. I feel like that might have made the episode worthwhile for a lot of people just to talk about that. Because I think people have no idea like what the potential of hex is here. Did they break down? Oh, did Jim at Crypto do more than one stream this morning? I'll have to check it out. Right on. K4K had a good follow-up interview. Okay. Yep. Let's see. I think the hex is locked and the maxi token or whatever is sellable. Okay. What if a whale dumps 200 million hex a day before maxi ends? Be super honest. Do you think one T-share could retire someone in 10 to 15 years? I think you asked this question before I just dropped that fact about the OA being able to make sure that there's no cheap hex anywhere, even if other people haven't caught on. But we know in reflexive systems that if somebody's buying hex and the price is going up, more people are going to want to buy it because they see the price going up. So. Yeah, the Philips Deep Sleep headband that I told people about is nowhere to be found because they've discontinued it because the patent ran out and they couldn't figure out how to get people to wear the headband because people don't like wearing things when they sleep. Which is why I'm planning to partner, if I can, with the Methuselah Foundation to see if we can start producing them. That would be super awesome. And then I could deploy my plan that I've always wanted to deploy, which is to allow to create the mechanism for people to pay themselves for changing their own behavior, which in this case would be getting better sleep by using that mechanism that we've talked about in previous episodes. So while I am sorry that it's not available right now, I think that there is a huge opportunity here for even for getting more hex adoption and extending people's lives and that sort of thing. What this headband does is I really think it has the potential to like stop Alzheimer's, because it literally facilitates your brainwaves backing up memories better. So yeah, we're gonna see what we can do about that. I'm sorry that there's not a solution now. Oh yeah, there are whales that have hundreds of millions of dollars of hex. Some of them even watch this show. Why could hex not outperform BTC? Okay, so maybe you're like asking for a contrarian view of like why hex might not outperform BTC. Bitcoin could get more adoption. Something could go wrong with the PulseChain launch. I mean, you guys are making me give up all my good alpha here, but I don't really care because again, I'm all in, and Somebody's got to tell you guys this stuff. Absolutely, the best thing that could happen in the PulseChain launch is something to go wrong and to get a giant dip to be able to buy up. And I'm not saying that I want that, but I want that. Okay. I'm not going to have that much money on the sidelines. But that being said, like if there was some error, I know it would get fixed. I'm so confident that I'm saying, even if there was an error, I would buy so much. The bigger the error, the more potential. So I just want to throw that out there for all of you who maybe don't have as big of a bag as I do, and to put that into your subconscious as something that I'm thinking about, because I like to share some of my strategies if I think that they're helpful for me, and not tell you what to do with your money. You know, I mean, there could be catastrophic failure and the price never recovers, right? But I just think that it would also be good if there weren't any errors. Like that would be fine with me too. I just think that either way, I think that this is gonna be good. I think Hex has better technicals than BTC, but the way that it would not outperform BTC is if more people sold Hex than were buying it, and less people sold Bitcoin than were buying it. That's what this all comes down to. So imagine people buying $40 Bitcoin, not realizing there was a 1000x ahead for them. I would say that's like 99% of the people who bought Bitcoin at $40. But some of it should be on chain. So that'd be interesting to go back and look at. I think it would be super interesting. Like Richard has always been interested in somebody doing the analysis, like how much money did people put in based on what the value of their stakes are now. That can be computed. I think if somebody knows how to compute that, like message me or like leave a comment on this YouTube show. If you want to get a hold of me, like message me everywhere. Like message me on Twitter, message me on Telegram, email me, and leave a YouTube comment, and that will usually work. Sorry, it's hard to get a hold of me. It's way too much though. You know, like getting one super negative comment like cancels out several positive comments. But yeah, that I think that's super interesting. Dedication phase, not a sack. For free pulse. Okay. Maybe that's what people are talking about. I think it's live now. Interesting. God Whale stake does end before Maxi is started. That isn't imaginary. Okay. Johnny showing the receipts. Fear mongering is part of being a fudder. Maxi is a stable coin pegged to Hex. That's way different than how people were describing it. God Whale won't dump, and even if he did, imagine the sweet price. That'd be an epic opportunity, so not concerned. There you go. Any idea if you'd like to have another Hex conference? I think I would. I think I learned enough that I could do a really good job, make the next one way better. Way more on watches. It was like 2.2 million. So far, max 3 million on Pulse. No, I mean, like, doesn't he have $8 million worth of watches now? I think he was wearing $2 million worth of watches just on a single stream. I could be wrong. There are 1,000 other wallets that can't. Maddie, hope you're planning to go to the PulseCon this year. Does it hold weight for dev recognition to work with RH? Future job security, I would think. I think so too. You're saying RH hinted at the OA buying more Hex in the Alexander Lorenzo stream. Yes. I'm 90 to 95% sure that is the stream I'm thinking of. Smash the sub and like button. Yeah. What's up? Diraj, one of my favorite people to talk to on Twitter Spaces. DJ Pollywood, showing the carrots. Tell us all your secrets. That's called market making. Correct. The OA and SAC address will get a copy on Pulse. That's right. People are okay. I've caught up to the comments of people hearing my incredible alpha. Hey, Maddie, I agree. That's been on my thoughts. Also, go OA. What time frame did the OA buy up Hex last time after release? I haven't done the chain analysis. I just see where Gunter, the accountant, did the chain analysis in the Hex audit before everybody in the community was mean to him and he quit. Kind of like Silver the Antidote was doing chain analysis, giving us all like super hard facts to go like represent Hex, be like, you know, super confident in our investment. And then everybody's mean to him and he quit the community, et cetera, et cetera. Like, do I need to go on? Maybe, but anyway, maybe we should stop being mean to our chain analysis guys, and then we would have more readily available answers to those type of questions. Sorry for taking it out on you. I heart OA tat. Yeah. What's he? You should go back and rewind. Otherwise, nobody tell him, because you should have to increase the average time that people are watching this video to like find out what I just spent. It took me a long time to like put some of these game theory points together. So just listen. It's worth your time. They have no idea about the potential of Hex. That's right. Why would OA buy Hex? It already gets enough Hex from the penalties. Seriously, Diraj, is that a serious question? Because why? To make sure that there's no cheap Hex anywhere, and to allow greater price appreciation, and to reward people who were early investors and believers, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, because the OA believes that the price will be higher in the future, because the OA has the money to do so, because the OA likes Hex and wants to buy more of it, because it's owning more is just taking more off the market. Like, it's, why wouldn't you want your thing to thrive? And also, the OA had to buy up a shitload of Hex to get to 95% of the supply being owned by it. So this isn't some like minor thing. This is like a huge, huge, huge part of the game theory that everybody's always too scared to talk about, or like forgets, or whatever. Well, I think we need more OA tats is what I'm saying. What's up, Monica? Good evening, everyone. How's it going, everybody? When headband sack? Okay. Great question. I kind of want to do a Kickstarter instead of a sacrifice, because sacrifices, I think, are a little bit against like the RH Maxi situation. Like, I think I'm very cautious about taking other people's money. And you could see that with the Hex conference that I put on, because I was so obsessed with saving everybody money, like giving a good deal, like being a good steward of the money and being responsible and all this kind of stuff. So like, I take this stuff super seriously, and I'm not like up on my, I'm not on my, whatever. I'm not on the stand like against all these other things if I'm just going to do the same thing. So like, and I'm not against sacrifices, but I'm very skeptical of them because it's just a more legal way of doing an ICO. And the reason ICOs failed is not because they were illegal, but because the game theory was bad, because you're paying people before something is done. And you're not creating any obligation, especially with this sacrifice. It's like actually way worse game theory than even an ICO. Okay. So I hate to say that, but like when RH does it, it's different because he's a billionaire who's already proved himself, and he's a billionaire in so many things. He doesn't need you to be the exit liquidity. Okay. It's a big difference. So the reason I like the Kickstarter model for what I'm doing, and then you can freaking pay yourself to have better health behaviors. Like that's the shit. Like that's what I've been talking about for like I've been talking about that for like 4 years. If you go to 3gcrypto.com, you can read my article where I put very succinctly all of the potential I see for this new function of money to not just be a medium of exchange and a store of value, but to be something where you pay yourself and you unlock your own behavior change. So that's like the number one thing I've always wanted to do in this space. The reason why I started streaming was to promote X, but to also like make connections with people and to hash out my own ideas and get more feedback about how I can make this happen. So I think a Kickstarter would be cool because then people could like know what they're paying for and like get the product, and the product could get funded. We could start producing it, and it could be a business without the like negative externalities of making it a money grab when something isn't already created. So maybe I'll change my thinking on that, but that's where I'm at right now. It's like Kickstarter seems like more appropriate. Cause like I think in a Kickstarter, you charge it on your credit card, and then if it doesn't work out, if the product doesn't ship, then you get your money back. That seems fair. I don't know. Maybe I'll need investors, but again, you could do it through Kickstarter, and you can sign up for a higher level or something, get more cool stuff. I don't know. The OA isn't trying to get rich. It's trying to make Hex more valuable by taking it off the market. Hex shares are providing sound money backing for multiple tokens. Can BTC do this? For sound money backing, inflation bug anyone? Changeable consensus code rules? Question mark. Hex is greater than BTC as a store of value. Well put. It also needs to see bad actors and weak hands shaken out. Yeah, that's a great point, which is why the OA still allows dips to happen of 80%, right? I thought I sold the top of BNB at $20. I have no idea what the price of BNB is now. So sorry. Oh, I think BNB went much higher than that. So you're saying that it's hard to judge tops. It's true. Hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday night, Maddie ALLin. Thank you, Hector. Last time I got no response. Ha ha, JK. You're super busy. We get it. Nothing but love, Maddie. Right on. Right on. Frosty mentioned working on onboarding/offboarding for Ecuador, Hexador, and possibly all of South America. We need more info. There you go. Rich the topic. Hex. I'll make my negative comment slightly positive if possible. Thanks, Ross. Oh, if people want to write the Hex logo on the chat, I think you become a member of the channel and it unlocks the emojis for you. Maddie does great conferences. Thank you. I appreciate it. It said 8 million now. I don't remember what that's about. BNB chart might be similar to what Pulse does. 20x out the gate, followed by dump for a while, then 300 something x, Then like 3 years later, 5,000x if you can hold on. Wow. That'd be insane. Have the next one in Los Angeles, California. I'll think about it. I know that it's going to be somewhere other than Vegas. No hate on Vegas, but stop being mean to our nerds. Does the long wait on PulseChains? Do you mean PulseChains? Is that like a bad does it have an effect on mental health? Does the long wait? I mean, in some ways, that's kind of an interesting question. I think it depends on the individual. I think that waiting is typically something that drives people crazy and also makes people better. But it really depends on the person's individual like financial environment. And so it's hard to say, but no, I don't think anybody likes waiting. Crypto Compassion, what's up? Much love, Maddie. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Being mean is a low ROI. That's for sure. And I can't remember now what the context of me saying I was being mean was, but shout out to Funny Jim. Great work that you're doing. Totally respect. And everybody should follow Funny Jim on YouTube. Hex is the best store of value. I've enjoyed seeing the Hex price getting pummeled the last couple of weeks. It coincided with many OG Hexicans retiring and setting up cash out options through Mountain Crypto Advisors. The longer this goes on, the better. Interesting take, likes. I feel the same about Hex. If Hex dips in a market dump, no fear. I say thank you, RH, and buy. This time frame on the chart will look like a flat line next to mountains. No worries. You were just explaining and telling us something I had no idea about. Why did De Beers buy most of the diamond mines before investing into heavy advertising? Excellent point, Funding Jim. Perhaps Richard will do the same. Too many people are burnt out and out of dry powder. Long term for the next leg of Hexicans that will retire at 50 cents, $1, $2, etc. It's a ladder up the price scale with many Hexicans retiring at different price points. The OA is the ocean and waves coming into the shore allow us to surf. That's an interesting take. Heading over to Hex Joker. Have a good night. There you go. Conference was amazing. Thank you, Maddie. My pleasure. The viewership is going up. That's interesting. Liquidity is being sucked out dry, and those with diamond hands will reap huge rewards. I think so too. Jimmy says, hey, Maddie, I was putting up $1,000. Do you remember whatever it was? I'm still here. Oh, hey, were you talking about putting that up for like the Sens initiative of getting Aubrey back in power? We were holding off on that for a little bit. And now we've in the past week or two, I've gotten the addresses published. I also have my screen sharing working again on StreamYard. Thanks, Google Chrome, for messing that up for a while. But with that being said, you can go to maddieallen.medium.com, and that will take you to my published stories, my blog there, and you can see this article that I'm going to screen share, and it can show you some addresses that you can send to for Aubrey's different causes. But also, I think we were talking about doing like background checks on the board members to dig up dirt on them. And that would be like a separate fund from these. So you could still DM me and we could see if if any of the people watching are the people who wanted to put together the money for that, or you might decide to give for a different cause. But I'm giving out these NFTs. I'm going to send them out like monthly, and definitely when gas fees are low. but there's like, then you also get like a physical pin. I think I did an episode on this for sure, so go back and check that out. But yeah, there are different addresses depending on like if you want to give directly to Aubrey de Grey, like not have a tax write-off, or if you want to give to the Methuselah Foundation, like email them ahead of time and say that it's for Aubrey de Grey, and then that'll get used by him. When I met with the CEO of Methuselah Foundation, I got to like find out more about how, like even Vitalik likes giving money like and earmarking it for Aubrey, which is like super cool. And then there's the tax fund as well. Sorry, not the tax fund, the legal fund, which does not have a tax benefit for that. So anyway, these are all the instructions here that have been published. And then Aubrey tweeted, that he can confirm the addresses and that sort of stuff. So there's been verification there. Hope that's helpful. Thank you so much for offering to give to that. You rock. And that's a big deal. We need a GoFundMe page so you get paid for your efforts for the conferences. I was experimenting with not getting paid from the conference and running it at cost, and I'm happy with that for now. So thanks for thinking of me. Let's not forget this allows others to get in at the 80% dip for a sustained amount of time. It's organized chaos. It's beauty. RH has a beautiful mind. The moonshot is being coiled back. I love that. For maximum torque. Let's freaking go. Happy it was created with some kind of Kickstarter. It will facilitate over a dozen mental states, including sleep, focus, calm, meditation. Okay. The reason I like the Philips device is because it measures your brainwaves and only activates during the phases of sleep where you really need those waves for to enhance the communication between your hippocampus and your prefrontal cortex. Remember, I have a neuroscience background and worked for 7 years in a brainwave laboratory. And so there's lots of other devices that just play sounds that don't take your brainwaves into consideration. And those are much worse because they're not specific to the stage of sleep you're in. So they interfere with the other stages of sleep while not addressing just that specific slow wave stage where your memories are being backed up. Thank you. It should be in Puerto Rico next conference. That's fascinating. I didn't think of that. Interesting. Orlando Convention Center for the East Coast crew. People were being mean to our Chainalysis guys. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Next conference on private island. Hey, Maddie, good stuff as always. Thank you. Then the next conference will be at Rico Hex or Porto Hex. That's right. Next conference in this space station. Yo, for real. I'm trying to name our new private island. There you go. Would be cool if there was some sort of viral charity fundraiser like the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge sponsored by PulseChain and Hex. I totally agree. Super good point. I thought of that the other day and completely forgot about it. So that was an interesting one. I have a hot take on that. The ALS Ice Bucket Challenge was the event that made people turn on video on their Facebook. And so Facebook had this wild incentive to like spread that because it was part of their roadmap for getting people to watch videos on their platform and being able to monetize that. And so I suspect that was kind of used as a psyop. And I love like that ALS got funded, but it's also, I think, important to understand like what the true incentives were for that movement, because I think that there's a reason why it coincided with Facebook like trying to take over the video space. Hey, I got caught up. Yeah, Wave 3. And Wave 3 is a surfer. Like I know he like cut his leg open like 3 months ago or something, like thankfully recovered, but it was like that dude is pretty awesome. And make sure that you subscribe to his channel if you get a chance. I thought we all settle on the Isles de Hexico because there won't just be one. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, Richard said he's wants to start his own nation state in 5 years. That's pretty wild. Isles of Hexico it is, with other islands properly named Pulse and PulseX can travel by boat or bridge. Awesome. Hey, well, thanks everybody for coming by. I know that there was a lot of really good stuff that we talked about here in the last like hour of this stream. So if you haven't seen the past like 45 minutes or hour, make sure to catch up on that, because that's where all the goodies were dropped that I haven't heard anybody talk about anywhere else, and make me more bullish on Hex than I have ever been in my entire life. So shout out to all of you for hearing it here first, and for tuning into this episode of the Solo Gang with Maddie ALLin. I was thinking about taking a little break from doing the regular streams, but I think I like it too much, so I'm gonna keep it up for now. And like I said, be going on some people's other channels, some channels outside of our group. There's somebody named Mike the Investor who invited me on. He's got like 70 or 80K subs, who I'm super excited to stream with. And there were like a number of other guys that have even more that I connected with at the Bitcoin conference. So for now, signing off, stake wisely, my friends. And let's do Hex Therapy as the outro. Why not? Peace out.
It's from Maddie ALLin of Hex Therapy Live. I like Maddie. Maddie tries to make the world a healthier place. He's a mental health professional. He's done research. There's nothing that a human being could do better than try and heal his fellow man.